My name is Daniel Ortiz.
My name is Ross Miho.
We're accompanied by our Jefferson dancer.
Keisha.
All right, let's do this. Where are you from, Keisha, before coming to Jefferson?
I was born in Tokyo, Japan, and I moved to Portland in second grade. And I went to West Sylvan Middle School, and then I went to Lincoln High School for freshman year, for my freshman year. And then I transferred to Jefferson High School for the Jefferson Dancers program.
Cool. Jefferson dance programs, is that something that you're really interested in?
Yes, very much so. I've been in the company for 3 years now. This was my last year. And my freshman year, I just took classes under Steve Gonzalez, the artistic director.
How does that feel for it to be, almost done with your Jefferson dancer career?
It's kind of scary because then you have to go into the real world of dance. I think we were a bit spoiled in Jefferson Dancers because we were given so many opportunities by Steve. But it's also very exciting because you get to have all these experiences and all this training. And if you do go into dance as a career, then you already have that under your belt of your performance experience and such. So it's a mixture of all types of feelings, I guess.
Do you feel like you're ready?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. So, as a dancer for JDs, how often do you dance throughout the year?
Throughout the year, oh my God.
Is it like a everyday type thing? Like, do you have classes during the day, and do you practice after school?
Yes. Monday through Friday, it's about 5 hours of dance a day. It's an hour and a half dance class, whether it's ballet, jazz, hip hop, or tap. And then you have, if you're in a company, then you have rehearsal afterwards until 6 or sometimes even until 8, depending on if you have a show coming up or not. Yeah. And then we also have performances at different schools, up to 50 lectins, and performances at the Newmark, which are about 4 days long in the spring. And we also go on a trip. Every other year it's an international trip. Last year we went to Aix-Provence, France, and this year we went to Pittsburgh for the National High School Dance Festival.
Cool.
Nice.
That's a lot of training.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel like well bonded with your fellow dancers?
Oh, you have to be. You spend time with them every day. You see them every day. Sometimes you get frustrated with each other, but it's a great experience because you do get close. You're kind of forced to be close to each other. But it's just it's great to share that pain and work ethic together.
Cool. You mentioned Newmark. Can you describe that a little bit more in depth?
Yeah, so the Jefferson Dancers every year in the springtime perform at the Newmark, and we perform all the pieces we have been rehearsing all year long. 2 of the pieces are choreographed by our artistic director, Steve Gonzalez. The other ones are choreographed by alumni of the program, such as this year we had Jaron Reese do a contemporary piece called Static. And we also had TJ Yale choreograph a hip-hop piece for the Jefferson Dancers this year. But something different happened this year where when we do go to the National High School Dance Festival, sometimes they request us to submit student choreographed pieces. And this year, Lillian Larson and I got to choreograph our own pieces, and those were showcased at the Newmark as well.
Wow, yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So how was that process of making your own choreography and then having that seen by so many?
The process, it's exciting and it's also very difficult because you have to start with auditioning your peers, which is difficult because you have to say, I want you to be in my piece and I don't want you to be in my piece. But they're also your friends. So it's a whole mix of tension sometimes. But once you get through that, then you have to start building your piece based off the people you work with. There's 2 different ways that you can do it. You can already have choreography and whoever fits into that choreography is in your piece, or you can do what I did, which is that you have sequences that you audition on, like as your foundation, and then you base the piece off of the individuals that you pick, so their strengths and things like that. So.
Okay, yeah, that goes into my next question I was going to ask. Like somebody who's who went to the Newmark and watched you guys' performances, one of the things that was going through my head is how did you guys even begin to choreograph these dances? Because there's so many people moving and there's so many different moves and stuff like that. It's just hard for me, someone who doesn't dance, to wrap my head around
Yeah.
the process.
For me, it comes very naturally. I can't listen to music without already choreographing something or thinking of some type of movement. And I love Bjork, and I always use her instrumental versions of her music for my choreography lately. And so I used 2 of her pieces and then a whole other remix. And what I did at one point is I had dancers improv, which means that you just play music and they just dance across the floor in any way they want to. And what's beautiful about that is you get to see how they naturally move and what their instincts are on how they feel comfortable in moving and expressing themselves. And when I saw that, then I get to also see their strengths and how they move as individuals. And so I kind of use that into my choreography as well. It's definitely not easy. There were times where I didn't know how to put things together, but you just have to be very creative and very open-minded and collaborate with your dancers, and you can create something wonderful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess how many times do you get feedback from your own dancers about like what they want to do next, or is it all? Do you have full artistic?
I have full
direction?
reins on my choreography most of the time. There are times where they'll correct me and they'll say, actually, you said the timing was this or the gesture was this before, and I'd either say, well, it's different now, or, oh, you're right, sorry, I messed up. Which is great because then I get to be reminded this is what you were saying before. And it's good because then I'm not constantly changing it all the time.
So do you write all your choreography down, or do you keep it all like in your head?
It's actually kind of funny. I had a journal with all my choreography steps in it, so I would remember it. Or sometimes in the summer, I don't know if Claire Slyman is a junior at our school, and I had her do some choreography, and I videotaped it so that I could remember when the school year came. She's incredible. But I also draw people dancing and going through all the movements. And it's not stick figures either. I like seeing the shapes and like all that. I actually take the time to draw these little things. And I remember showing it to some of the dancers on how it's supposed to look like. And they were very surprised that that's how I
represented them.
That's how
Yeah.
I remember the movement on what it's supposed to look like and the pattern and all that.
So how does that feel then, like going from paper to seeing it in real life? How does that feel to see it all completed and at the Newmark?
It's remarkable. It's amazing because then it's like all in your head. You can see it in your head, but when you see it in person, especially at the Newmark with all the lights and all the people and the bass and
all comes together.
right, and how they're really actually performing it. Because there's a big difference between doing it in the studio and then doing it at the Newmark at the show. The last night I sat in a balcony and I watched my piece and I just started bawling. I lost it and I started crying because I realized how much work was put into it and how much respect and appreciation I had for all the dancers that were on stage because they, without any doubts, followed me and listened to me and did everything I requested of them, and I was really grateful for that. Because even though that they are company members, they're also my peers, but they acted so professionally in that way, so I was proud of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question.
I guess next question. It's odd transition for me. So actually, no, not an odd transition at all. So we're talking about Newmark. I'm not sure. Catch me if I you already talked about it, but what was it like to be at the end of the Newmark, at the end of your high school career?
My
as well?
last show.
Yes.
Oh wow, it was very emotional. The first couple days, I didn't really realize that it was my last show until the last day when it really hit me like a brick wall. And I was like, oh shit, can I say shit? Should I
Yeah.
oh shit, like this is my last show.
Yeah.
And it was also amazing because this year's the 40th anniversary, and I got to meet alumni from the 80s and 90s and 2000s, and some of them I knew from freshman or sophomore year. But it was incredible. I got to talk to this one guy, I forgot what his name is, but he was a professional dancer in Europe, which is what I'm aspiring to do. And he was telling me about the whole ugly side and the whole side that you don't hear about your dance careers. And I really appreciated it, like brutal honesty. And I realized even if like it is extremely difficult to have a career in dance, even in Europe, I'm willing to do that because it's something I love to do. So,
It doesn't feel like work. It feels more like what you want to do.
right,
At that
it doesn't
point.
feel like work at all. Well, sometimes it feels like work if you're really tired.
Right.
And you have bruises and you have to keep falling on that bruise over and over again.
But you enjoy
But going back to that last show, what it felt like, I kind of went off. It felt great because my favorite moment is when the whole company is bonding. We have to watch videos of ourselves from the other shows, which can be painful sometimes, especially when you mess up. Then you have to see it and you're like, oh god. But the thing is, no one else notices it. No one in the audience knows that you fucked up. So, but it's great bonding with your company, I think. And it brings out this whole side of like love and appreciation and support that wasn't there before, because you realize that it's the end and everyone's bringing their A game and it just feels great. So yeah.
Finishing strong.
Mhm.
So your last performance, and you're talking about the company and all the people that are inside of it. So how are you feeling now that you're about to leave and going to college?
How am I feeling about the company?
How are you feeling about leaving the company and starting your own chapter rather than being on JD's?
Yeah, and can you also tell us a little bit more about what your future plans are?
Yeah. I'm terrified.
Rightfully so, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think Steve would like me saying this, but we're a little spoiled in Jefferson Dancers because we get all of these opportunities and experiences. Oh, we do work hard, but I feel like in the real world of dance, it's like you really have to put everything into it. And you have to get used to being rejected over and over and over and over again. And opportunities aren't just handed to you. But I'm so thankful for having those opportunities and experiences, because if I didn't have it, then I wouldn't be doing dance as a career. Then I wouldn't feel as prepared as I do feel. Having performance experience is amazing. There's no word for how much I appreciate it, because if I didn't have that, then I wouldn't be doing dance as a career and I wouldn't feel ready to. And our training is rigorous at times, but it's necessary, especially if you want to have dance as a career. But my future plans, I'm going to Europe to get a BA degree in dance. I'm either going to Institute of the Arts Barcelona in Spain, obviously, and Code Arts in Rotterdam, Netherlands.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about that.
So
What
which
made you
one-
choose to go abroad
Yeah.
rather than stay here? in the
I
States?
think in the States, commercial dance is a lot more popularized for good reason, because, well, media is a huge part of our lives now in the 21st century. And concert dance is popularized too, but in a different way. There are companies like Northwest Dance Project and other companies like Polaris and things like that, Body Box. Those are all kind of local companies. But they don't have as much substantial pay as companies in Europe, because most companies in Europe are funded by the government for the arts. And some companies even have healthcare, which is wonderful. So if I do get a good job after spending 3 years in school to get a BA degree, I might not need to get a second job just to stay afloat, which is great. But the biggest reason of why I want to go to Europe to get a degree and a career or job is because Europe has this kind of booming industry of modern dance right now in creation, which is exactly what I want to do. I want to do modern choreography and creation. I want to start as a professional dancer in multiple modern dance companies so I can get connections with different people and get different experiences. And then when I'm ready and I have the resources to do so, I want to start a company of my own. So those are the two big reasons why I want to be in Europe for dance.
Nice.
Seems like the possibilities are going to be limitless over
Yeah.
there.
I don't know if it's limitless, but I think it's better than what I want to do here. So.
Cool. You ever think about coming back?
No.
No? Yeah?
I think if I go, I won't come back except for visiting family and things like that.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
International woman, Keisha.
Right. I'm very interested in traveling too, so
Yeah.
that'll be perfect for me.
It's awesome.
Because if you're in Europe, you can go anywhere. You just got to take a train. And
Yeah.
You're in France one day, and then you're in Spain the next.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
so I guess, we've talked about your time at Jefferson Dancers, but what about in Jefferson in general? Like, did you like it
I
coming here?
loved it.
Loved it?
I do have to say, when I went to Lincoln, some of my friends at Lincoln were kind of skeptical of me going here because for some reason Jefferson has a bad reputation and I don't understand that. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think it was a couple of years ago. So as the ignorant freshman I was, I came to Jefferson thinking that it was going to be very scary, and it was a little scary because on the second day I was here, as a sophomore, there was a fight in front of my locker. That was a big wake-up call of, oh, okay. But over the past 2 years, Jefferson is completely transformed. It was already a great school because what I love about Jefferson is all the students are really kind and they talk to everyone. There's not really any cliques compared to other schools, so that's what I loved about Jefferson. But like I said, over the past 2 years, it's completely changed. Like our principal was the principal of
The state.
the state,
yeah.
which is
It's
amazing.
crazy.
And the percentage of graduation rates,
Higher than the district standards.
I know, in
higher
1
than,
year.
Oregon.
yeah. And there was a huge decline of fights and fire alarm poles too, so.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember sophomore year when they would pull the fire alarm a lot.
Yeah, I think we
But-
did twice in a day.
But Jefferson is an amazing school.
Yeah.
What other school gives you the opportunity to go across the street to PCC and take classes?
Yeah,
That's
literally
amazing.
across the street. Like,
It's
literally you walk across the street. and that's
literally.
BCC. Yeah.
It's amazing. I've taken some classes there and it's great. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It does feel sad, definitely for us seniors that we're going to leave such an inclusive community here.
I know. It's going to be very sad.
Yeah, I'm definitely actually, personally, when I go to another college campus, you get to see all the nice things, but it's also like, it's gonna really suck seeing not seeing people that you've kind of grown up
Right.
with.
Because now you have to start all over again.
Another
where you
4
have
years.
Where you have to meet new people and make a whole other group of friends all over again. But I'm excited about that. I actually kind of like meeting new people.
Yeah, and I've been more used to it because, I've been transferred to so many different schools. Not actually transferred, but moved to different schools.
Right.
So, in the beginning I was like, oh, this is kind of crappy. But no, it's nice to meet new people and,
Yeah.
grow up with more people. It's nice.
Yeah. So as a junior, I'm not okay. I am upperclassmen, however, I'm not as upperclassmen as seniors. So as seniors, Daniel had talked about it, but I'm interested to hear about your take on it. Do you have any advice to underclassmen?
Go to Women's Empowerment Club.
Okay. Okay.
I'm the president and founder of Jefferson's Women's Empowerment Club, and you should go so that you can learn about gender equality and sexism and feminism.
Perfect segue, I think, to our next topic.
Oh, great. But another advice I have is high school is a time where you're figuring out who you are. But don't let other people define who that person is supposed to be, if that makes sense. Just because your group of friends want to do something doesn't necessarily mean you have to. I would trust your gut. And don't let people push you around or tell you who you're supposed to be. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay. Segue?
I'm sorry. So you started the Jefferson Women's Empowerment Club, is that correct?
Yes.
So how was that, and what are your main goals in the group or club or program
I hope
or
that
team?
it continues, and Ross is a member, so I'll be checking in and making sure it's still going.
I'll be harassed all next year.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a lot of emails of
Yeah.
how's it going? Are there 20 people showing up every week?
We'll see. Yeah.
No, well, there'll definitely be 20 people at least showing up to every meeting every week, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
You gotta start doing some recruiting right now, then.
You have to. I'm done.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So what prompted you to start the club here?
I had a friend who goes to a different school who brought up the idea of doing it at her school, and I was like, wow, Jefferson doesn't have that, or I'm not aware of it having that. I know there was a girls group or something, but I was like, there's not really a club completely devoted to talking about gender equality and feminism and sexism, and I was like, we need this at our school. Why don't we have this? So I decided to start it, and I had to write like a 6-page proposal to Mr. Allen. He said it was only supposed to be 3 pages, but I couldn't stop writing, so it turned into 6. And because I was just so passionate about it, I realized how much it's needed. And I've talked to a lot of girls at our school who either ask me for advice, underclassmen who ask me for advice, or who are just asking for my opinion, and I realize they need a space where they can feel comfortable to talk about their experiences or to bring up a question, not necessarily share their experiences, and have a group of people who are passionate about learning those answers. So that's why I really wanted to start the club, because I thought it was necessary.
And have you been like an activist of women's rights for a while?
I'm becoming an activist. I'm very, I'm a little skeptical about calling myself an activist because I don't know if I've done enough to earn that title. You know, I would like to earn that title at some point, but I personally believe, if I want to be an activist for women's rights and gender equality, I also have to be an activist for racial equality and LGBTQIA community. I have to be a well-rounded person who believes in the equality of all people before I can do that. And it's also just about educating myself on everything that has to do with gender equality, which is a lot more than I thought. It's a lot because there's current issues, because there's laws, because there's personal experiences, because there's so much background. You think you open a door and there's 20 more doors behind that. So I don't think I will ever know everything that has to do with it, but I aspire to be an activist, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and as long as you're making up, as long as you're progressing toward the goal of equality, it's really great.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Very noble.
Very
noble
indeed.
of you.
Very noble.
Thank you.
Very
Golf
noble.
club.
Yeah. Well, I think that pretty
That's
much
it?
wraps up.
I don't know. I kind of
Wraps
wanted
it all up.
to go into biggest challenges.
Let's do it.
All right. Yeah. Sure. Go for
Okay,
it.
so these ones are more targeted toward your teenage.
Ross is just done. He just wants to go.
Sorry,
Yeah.
man.
Let's go now. It's
Do you
fine.
want to go?
It's fine.
No,
No,
it's
go.
fine. It's
Let's
fine. I
go.
was joking.
I mean, it's different for me because I don't have class, but you two have class.
It's fine.
Let's keep going.
Okay. Well, so before we talked about Jefferson Dancers, talked about yourself at Jefferson, but what about as a teenager? What has been your biggest challenges as a teenager?
So much angst. As a teenager, there's some things I can say and I can't say. I feel like I've
Yeah,
already
for sure.
cussed. So, challenges as a teenager, like what I said before, is like finding yourself. That's completely up to you. Oh, for me, as someone who has depression and anxiety and things like that, it's even more difficult, especially when you've like been diagnosed with this thing and you're like, oh my God, it's real. As a teenager, it's really difficult because you're still developing into that person you want to be. You're still figuring out your identity, and then you're given this big boulder and you're like, oh God. What's that project we were doing? Existentialism.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the man.
Yeah.
Who
There's a
takes
philosopher.
a boulder. Yeah.
Yeah.
That pushes up a boulder up onto a hill, and every time he's almost there, he goes all the way down, undoes his progress.
And what I didn't realize, especially as a freshman or sophomore, is that everyone has a boulder. I felt like, oh, it's only me. I'm the only person with this problem. Everyone else is having a great fucking time. But for me, I realized that's not true. Everyone has their own boulder. Everyone has their own struggle. And it's finding the people who complement that or who help you and who support you. And finding your true friends who will be there for you no matter what.
So what do you think has been the most helpful thing of getting you through tough times?
I think it's friendships, but it's also creating a strength within myself and learning from mistakes and learning from experiences on how to deal with situations when I am really depressed. I think that's completely changed my whole life. And also kind of coming out to my family that this is what I'm going through and this is what I have been going through. And because I hid it for a long time. For like a couple of years I didn't tell anybody because I felt like a burden, but when I really just let it go, then I had even more support. So yeah. And the other thing I was going to say that's really difficult as a teenager is that everything is surrounded around the perception of yourself and how people perceive you. And it's so intense to the point where you'll become friends with people who don't actually care about you. And I've made friendships where I had two major friendships. One was a long friendship, and we just became different people. But there was another friendship where I thought this person cared for me, and I thought this person was supporting me and was a good friend. But the minute they could, they just they dropped me, like I was not there anyway. So it's like, don't invest everything into somebody. Like, trust your gut. If your gut says, I don't think this person is a good person, but you want to be friends with them because they're cool or whatever it is, listen to your gut. It's better to be not cool than heartbroken. So,
yeah. It's important also that I feel like have a good amount of friends and not just invest yourself in one person, because you never know what can happen with that one person.
But at the same time, don't be like, have no trust in anyone. Everyone has trust issues, but don't be like, I don't trust anyone. You have to let yourself go, and you have to share with people. So, yeah.
I feel like this is a very emotional
I know.
episode.
I'm sorry, I'm a very emotional person. Oh well.
We all are.
I'm an open book. Next question?
Biggest accomplishments. What has been the thing that you see yourself as a teenager and you think, wow, I did that, and I'm so happy I did that?
I think I've brought up a lot of my accomplishments. Being in Jefferson Dancers, going to Jefferson High School, creating wonderful friendships, learning how to cope with my depression, mending friendships and also family relationships, creating Women's Empowerment Club, an environmental sustainability club, which isn't as successful as Women's Empowerment Club, but it's still a club.
It's getting there.
It's getting there. There's actually going to be a garden. If you go to the front of the school where the Jefferson statue is, and you turn to the right, and you keep walking to the side of the gym, there's a little tiny garden there. I planted that. Very proud of it. It's little, but it's still a big deal to me. So please don't litter it or anything.
Please don't.
Please don't. But yeah. So there's a lot of accomplishments, and you should definitely think of all the things you've accomplished every day is what I tell myself, so that you can have a positive mindset. Because if you just think about all the things you regret and all the things that you messed up on, then it's not worth your time, because then you're just thinking about that whole negative aspect of your life when it doesn't even have to be there in the first place. You should only be thinking about all the things you have done and all the accomplishments that you've had. So,
I agree.
yeah.
So, I guess, since we're going to be graduating in like 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
I have to catch up on some schoolwork first.
Yes, indeed, yes.
I
True
bet.
for me too.
Yep.
So, are
Thanks,
there...
Turner.
Yes, thank you, Miss Turner.
Shout out to Turner.
Turner's great.
Thanks.
Are there any just final conclusions, realizations about your time either in high school, public education, your time as a youth? Are you 18 yet?
Yes.
So you're an adult.
Yes.
Any final
I
conclusions?
don't feel like an adult. I still feel like a kid. But
You're
I
an
always feel
adult.
like a kid.
I'm
You're
an
an
adult that forgot to register to vote.
What?
I wanted
You
to
forgot
vote so bad, but
You were
I missed
talking
the
about it.
deadline. I know.
We had a whole meeting in Women's
I know.
Empowerment about
I
it.
know. And I missed the whole deadline.
I got my little voting.
Well, it's also because
thing
I don't
yes-
have an ID, because I don't even have a permit.
Yeah, I don't have either.
That's not by choice, by the way.
Even I have my license. You guys need to step your game up.
Whatever, man.
Sorry, Ross.
You're polluting the world.
Okay.
So
Okay. You
at
know
least
what?
at least I'm not contributing to that. But anyway.
Just any final realizations or
Realizations.
conclusions, epiphanies, what is it? We just got out of childhood. We just
High
got
school
out
is not the best time of your life. College is. Hopefully, anyway. For me, anyway.
Hopefully, yeah.
Because, high school is great, but it wasn't. I don't think it's going to be the best time of my life. I don't think college is going to be the best time of my life. I think every day is going to be the best time of my life.
That's a good quote.
Senior quote right there.
I was just about to say that should be my
Except-
senior quote.
Yeah, you would have to cite
Keisha.
Kesha alumni. That reminds me, I should probably go fill that out, because the yearbook's probably done. Oh,
It's not done. You can talk to Ms. Hargrave.
because right now I feel like there's no picture, it's just my name, and there's no quote. There's nothing.
You don't have a picture in there?
I don't have a picture, I don't have a quote,
Senior
I don't
picture?
have a
You don't have, like,
memory,
a-
I don't have anything.
Do you
I
have your
haven't
school
done-
ID? They'll probably just use your.
Do you want one?
Yeah, I have to go figure that out, so,
Gotta get on
yeah.
that.
I'd be willing to take the picture for you, but then
Oh,
again.
I have pictures.
Oh, yeah.
I
Okay,
have some
better,
bomb-ass
better.
pictures.
Yeah, submit those, submit senior memory, which
Mm-hmm.
is something that, speaking of which, I guess mine isn't going to be there because I'm too late to put it there.
Yeah.
And maybe you might be a little too late to put the senior quote,
Yeah.
senior memory.
Yeah.
So then what is a senior memory that you have? Not necessarily
Going
in
to
senior
France.
year. Going to France?
Oh my god, that was incredible. It's amazing. It's great.
Can you tell more about the incredible, amazing, great trip to France?
It was great performing there, and it was great taking classes at the conservatory, and it was great having fun there. So
Yeah, and it was in Europe. That's the part that you
Yeah.
want to go.
yeah, it's just a great experience.
It's a good memory.
Hmm.
I feel like we're getting pretty close now.
I think we're done.
Yeah, I
We're
feel
done.
like we should wrap this up.
All right.